Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh, and this is your stimulus check update for the next stimulus package for Friday, December 11th. I hope everyone is off to a good and safe start to their Friday so far, and that you all have a wonderful weekend ahead. In this video, I'll be discussing updates in regards to the next relief package and the second stimulus check. I'll also be discussing unemployment, one of the most reasonable relief proposals I've seen yet, and then I'll be wrapping up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. But first, if you wouldn't mind real quickly liking this video, give me a big thumbs up. It really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of pushing this video out to other viewers like you, and hopefully helping other people like you as well. Okay, so Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is now introducing legislation to provide a second round of stimulus payments to American families. In his proposal, every single American would receive $1,200 who made no more than $75,000 per year. Couples would receive $2,400, and dependents under the age of 17 would receive $500. Hawley said the most important thing that Congress can do is send direct assistance checks to every working family who needs them. That's what we did back in March. Every senator voted for it. The president is the one who led the charge for it. He supports that again. That's what we should do. Here's what I'm going to do. If Congress cannot agree in the next couple of days, today I am introducing a bill for direct payments to working families. I will go to the floor and ask for an up or down vote on direct assistance to families. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, finally a lawmaker who makes sense, who wants to pass a standalone bill for stimulus checks. This is something that should have been done months ago, and I say any lawmaker who rejects this bill should resign from their jobs immediately. If you're going to say no to a bill that would provide direct assistance to families using money that could be repurposed, then I'm sorry, but you should no longer be in Washington. And honestly, this is how every single bill should be. In each and every single bill, there should only be one piece of legislation. They should vote for stimulus checks in one bill, unemployment in another, and the Paycheck Protection Program in another. There's absolutely no need for them to fluff up a bill and try to add in all these hidden agendas. We, the American people, absolutely deserve to see how they vote on each piece of legislation separately. Quite frankly, it's tiring seeing one party vote on bills that include direct assistance to American families, but then they throw in all these hidden agendas with it, and then blame the other party for blocking aid. If our lawmakers cared, they would vote on and pass this bill, no question about it. In other stimulus news, Nancy Pelosi is now suggesting a new deadline to pass aid for virus relief, December 26th. What is this? The 100th deadline Pelosi has created? I guess, apparently, we're supposed to take this deadline of hers more seriously. Because, yeah, I don't know why. At the moment, the bipartisan group of negotiators are still stuck on how to craft liability protections. Mitch McConnell has his idea of what the liability provision should look like, which would be around 5 years protections from lawsuits in relation to the virus. McConnell and other Republicans believe that businesses should feel safe to reopen without being sued into bankruptcy from employees or customers claiming they got the virus from their place of business. Nancy Pelosi calls that proposal an assault on American workers. Another sticking point comes from Republicans not supporting the aid for state and local government that Democrats want. Democrats believe that states need this money to help pay teachers and first responders, whereas Republicans believe states have already received enough money and that they just want to use this as bailout money to pay for things unrelated to the virus, such as pensions. Being that the two sides have been in disagreement over those two issues, Mitch McConnell simply suggested they remove liability protections and aid for state and local. McConnell said he'd be perfectly fine removing both of those and voting on what they do agree with. However, Nancy Pelosi doesn't find that to be a viable solution moving forward. So it looks like relief is still being held up over those two issues. Now, one thing that I will say is that they just went ahead and voted on that bill as is, then voted on Josh Hawley's bill for stimulus checks. We'd all come out of this happy. Both of these bills could be voted on and approved by the end of next week, but I guess that would just be too easy. Oh, and in case anyone was wondering, House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer said that he is sending the chamber home until next Tuesday. In a statement, Hoyer said, "We've done all our work. We're just waiting to get an agreement that we can pass." And, well, he's probably right. Without a deal in place and nothing to actually vote on, there's probably not much of a point in the entire chamber being there. After all, without Queen Pelosi or King McConnell's approval in any bill, nothing can exactly move forward. So as us peasants continue to live off of $5 per day in stimulus relief since the CARES Act passed, we have to hope that they at the very least seriously consider Josh Hawley's standalone bill for stimulus checks. There is no reason, zero, on why they should block that bill. It's $1,200, a very reasonable amount, and it must be put on the floor for a vote. Then we'll know exactly who is blocking the relief. In unemployment news, 1.4 million Americans filed new unemployment claims last week, which is a huge jump from Thanksgiving week. It goes without saying that layoffs remain a huge problem, as new unemployment claims have been above 1 billion for 38 weeks now. At the moment, there are over 19 million Americans on unemployment benefits. Of the 19 million Americans on unemployment benefits, 5 million of them are on regular state benefits, 8.5 million are on pandemic unemployment assistance benefits, and 4.5 million are on PEUC benefits. So, policymakers, are you paying attention yet, or do you just not care? Just last month, for the November jobs report, the unemployment rate only dipped 0.2% down to 6.7% from 6.9%. At that pace, it's going to take nearly 4 years to see a full recovery. Do we really want to wait that long? Probably not. So let's stop playing around, reach an agreement, and pass more relief to help American families. We simply do not have much more time to lose. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm going to move right along to answering some of the comments and questions that I received on my previous video. And if you do have any other comments or questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to answer as many of the comments and questions as I possibly can, but for those comments and questions I'm not able to respond to, I do try to pick some of the more popular ones to answer the next video in video form. Okay, so without further ado, let me go ahead and jump into the first comment of today's video, which is from Chad. Chad says, why won't these lawmakers use the money that's left over from the first CARES Act for stimulus payments? It wouldn't cost them any more in the current bill because it's just sitting there. Okay, thank you so much for your question, Chad, and you make a great point. Actually, believe it or not, using the funds left over is part of the plan of the bipartisan group. According to reports, in the bipartisan proposal, $560 billion of it would be from funds that are simply repurposed. That means only $348 billion would come from new spending, which isn't a whole lot. Considering that, as I mentioned in prior videos, they could add in a second round of stimulus payments, and they could still keep the new spending below the $650 billion mark. That way, we could have everything that's already in the proposal with a second round of stimulus payments and call it a day. Everyone goes home happy. Okay, moving right along to the next question in today's video, which is from Melissa. Melissa says, if there is an unemployment pandemic payment approved, will it be retroactive to September? Okay, thank you so much for your question, Melissa, and that's still completely up in the air. If you remember the negotiations between Steven Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi back in October, they were going to make it so the unemployment benefits would be retroactive to around September 12th. This is when the 6 weeks ended from the Lost Wages Assistance Program, even though not every state received the full 6 weeks of benefits. However, in recent negotiations, it's looking more and more like these benefits won't be received retroactively at all. This would be a real shame because, again, in prior negotiations, they were going to make them retroactive at least for a couple of months, and now it's looking like nothing at all. However, of course, with anything, this is always subject to change, but I'll definitely make sure to keep you updated one way or another. Okay, moving right along to the last question of today's video, which is from Fatty. Fatty says, so I guess the head of the Democrats rejected the $916 billion proposal, even though it had stimulus checks in it. Does this mean they're going to move forward with the $908 billion deal? Okay, thank you so much for your question, and you are correct. Since the offer by Steven Mnuchin and the White House didn't include unemployment insurance benefits in it, the Democrats rejected the deal. Moving forward, it looks like they are going to use the proposal by the bipartisan group as the framework for any deal. Now, of course, that deal is not perfect to Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell, but it is a start. The main hangup at this point, as we've discussed, is over the aid for state and local, as well as liability protections for businesses. And even though it doesn't seem to be a huge deal for Pelosi or McConnell, not including a stimulus check is a huge deal for us. It's also been a sticking point for lawmakers on both sides, such as Josh Hawley, a Republican, and Bernie Sanders, a Democrat. So we'll just have to wait and see how all this plays out, but it seems like the proposal by the bipartisan group is going to be the framework moving forward. Let's hope they can simply add stimulus checks to that deal and get this passed before the end of the year. Alright, so on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is completely free to do so and it's a great support to me. Also, if you'd like to receive 4 free stocks from Webull, with 2 of them valued all the way up to $1,600 each, please feel free to claim those free stocks by clicking the link in the description box below. And finally, if you join Rakuten with my referral link in the description box below, and you spend at least $20, Rakuten will give you $20 cash back. This means that you could buy an item through Rakuten with one of the referral links, such as Nike, for $20, which would be around $22 after tax, and Rakuten will give you $20 just for making that purchase. This is just an incredible deal that I would love for everyone to take advantage of. Okay, so until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.